Annyeong. When you think of African culture, what comes to mind? Is it the Maasai? Are people who rather jump than walk? Is it the Khoisan? Are people so cool who use click sounds to talk? The gods must be crazy. Because when you look at Africa, you'll be surprised that's what you'll find. From modern creatives to poets to musicians, dreamers, yes, dreamers. Martin Luther King is not the only black person to have had a dream, and certainly won't be the last of his kind. Rewind from the beginning. I'll tell you what comes to my mind when I think of Africa. I think of the pyramids of Egypt, a monument from our ancestors as if to remind us that they were here. Their knowledge and wisdom may have been lost over time, but the monument stands as if a reminder to us that what made that was an intelligent being, and we come from that same great mind. So Africa, dream. In the darkest of nights, in the coldest of nights, dream. Remember that everything that ever was, even before anything came into being, started from a dream. That out of darkness comes the brightest of lights, even as the world may seem like they're scheming to put you down, continue to dream. Yes, dark-skinned is our melanin, but not our hearts. Even as the world's light seems to dim, continue to dream. Greed, envy, and anger come from a place of lack. I know better than anyone how that can make someone feel. Symptoms of a person who's hurt, who's still ill, but joy, yes, joy, understanding, and love can come from a place of work in ourselves. I think it's about time we started to heal. Yes, Africa, dream, but don't sleep. Because when you're asleep, that's when the enemy comes to steal. When you're asleep, that's when the enemy comes to kill. And the enemy is not a person, a race, or a creed. The enemy is a mentality from slavery meant to destroy your spirit and your will. Young Africa, dream, but don't sleep. Dream of making a better place for others, because until you do that, it being a better place for you will remain nothing but a pipe dream.
God is greater than COVID-19. Praise God. Why, son?
Eugene Nida. Okay. I'm a filmmaker, storyteller. Director is officially the title I go by. And basically what I do is I tell stories that can have an impact on people. That's what I love to do, to tell stories that can encourage, change perspectives, so educate even, but also entertain. So that's largely what I do. Like I started rhyming certain words, and then I discovered this place, which is Pearl, which is a place where different creatives come together. It's an open space. Anyone can come and share their story or poem or whatever they are struggling, or even just encouraging someone, or just having fun together with people. Because at the end of the day, like what I came to realize, like through like my work, is that everyone has their own struggle, but having such spaces where people come together, it's just like fun, because life is short and we don't know what will happen after this, but we should appreciate each other when we can. So that's how I came into storytelling. There are certain narratives that have been shared about the African continent that even affect people today. The slavery mentality, colonization, things like that. And I think that we need to step into a place where we have pride in our own culture, our own, how we do things in a way. And that starts from like the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves, more than even what we tell about others. Like the stories we share about ourselves are very important.
그러면 지금 케냐에 계시는 걸로 알고 있는데 케냐에서 어떤 일을 하고 계시는지 그리고 간단하게 자기소개 부탁드립니다.
네. 안녕하세요. 저는 주순하라고 합니다. 현재 케냐에서 11개월째 살고 있고요. 대무상 협력 사업을 주관하는 한국국제협력단이라는 곳에서 영 프로페셔널 청년 인턴으로 케냐 사무소에서 근무하고 있습니다.
So for everyone that has never experienced Kenya before, I think the predominant thing to perceive it is as vibrant, as lively, and as a place where you can actually connect with a greater understanding of nature for starters. We have great landscapes, we have great people, great culture and food especially. What I'd love for the Western world to know about as well is the history that we have. A lot of it is not documented, or a lot of it is lost across the colonial times, for example. But there's a lot of history and rich culture that we're not able to share with the world. I feel a lot more platforms have to be created so that young Kenyans can expose the world to what it means to be Kenyan, for example.
오기 전에는 사실 케냐 하면 떠오르는 거는 커피가 유명하다, 국립공원이 유명하다, 정말 그냥 평범한 한국 사람이 가지고 있는 그런 케냐에 대한 인식을 가지고 있었어요. 그렇게 왔는데 너무 재밌는 거예요. 이 나이로비 삶이 보물섬 같은 거예요. 되게 사람들이 잘 모르는데 예술로도 너무 아름다운 곳들이 너무 많고, 숨겨진 인재들도 많고, 아름다운 것들이 막 숨겨져 있는. 그래서 저는 케냐 오기 전에는 뭐 커피가 유명하다 이런 거밖에 몰랐지만, 오고 와서는 보물섬을 찾았다라는 느낌이 생각이 듭니다.
I think there's also a really generalized view of Kenya. There's, there's sides to Kenya. Obviously, there's the poverty side. It's still a part of us. But I also would love them to just know about Kenyan street culture. Kenyan street culture is really cool, from the fashion, the food, the matatus are really cool. I enjoy my street culture a lot. So I'd like that to also be more emphasized out there when they talk about Kenya. I want them to not only associate us with like the wild animals and the national parks, which is a cool thing that we have. I would also like them to associate us with the creativity that is out here every day, and yeah, that's something I would really like them to see about us.
Guy's on fire.
My name is Muzushi Africa. I represent King of the Street and B-Boy City Africa. So King of the Street, this is the crew that you see right here. And we mostly do community outreach programs. We go out in different hoods, different neighborhoods, and we interact with the kids from these neighborhoods. And this is one of the ways that we are able to bring visibility to breakdancing, because breakdancing is a relatively new art form in Kenya.
To me, I introduce it from an African perspective, because I'm an African. On Instagram, if you look at my posts, follow me at B-Boy Africans are on Instagram with smartphones. This is our life, this is our job, so and we are proud to do it. And we are proud to promote the African child to rise to the international standards on the hip hop side.
Some out there, they just think it's just a poor country, or if they call Africa, they just bring it with poverty on the line. But there's so much that Africa has to offer. I love nightlife in Kenya. I love food in Kenya. It's so tasty. I'm sorry to say, but in Dubai, I didn't enjoy food.
A lot of people also will see us dressed the way we are dressed and think we're very urban. Not really. Apart from breakdancing, it's the only urban thing about us. The way we think, the way we go about life is still African. We work a lot to preserve African heritage. We are proud to be African. You know, it's another thing that a lot of people also tend to think that Africans want to be somewhere else. No, man. We had the chance in Europe to stay and keep staying, but we're here because we are proud to be African and we want to be here. So that's, I think, one stereotype that I would like to demystify.
More importantly, I think what we need the world to know about Kenya is all the positive stories that come out of it. While most, most Kenyans, or I'd say most Africans, have aspirations of moving away from the country, it's not because we don't like our countries, it's because the opportunities and the infrastructure here is not supportive to our growth. So I think when the global perspective about how we should support Africa and Kenya in general should change, it will allow young people to stay here, to send a more positive message, and to create innovations that change our story. So more than anything else, I think the Western world needs to see Kenya especially as a country beyond just tourism. It has to see it as a country where there's endless opportunities, as there's a freedom as well. And of course, we do understand our limitations, but that doesn't stop us from reaching out to the world or from connecting the world to ourselves. We're open, we're very welcoming as a country, as a culture, as a people. And I think that's the best part about Kenya.
So I don't think for us, I don't think we're going to take the politicians, the ones that just there for the money. I don't think we'll take that lightly some 10 years to come. Yeah, because we are the ones who'll be in power by the time. Yeah, and the change is coming. Yeah.
The fact that Kenya has different, it's a third world country, so one picture of Kenya, you'd go to like the slum area, that's gonna look very different to like the Masai Mara area. That's also gonna look very different to like maybe a place like a wealthy area. So it's a broad spectrum, right? So I just encourage you to like broaden your perspective on Kenya. And I feel like we're all guilty of that, me too. Sometimes even in Kenya, we just think, that all Koreans are like this, so like all Asians are like this. But, Kenya is big and broad. And again, we have so many countries in Africa. But yeah, and we love you.
I would like people to know that the African spirit is strong. It's resilient, and there is joy. As much as there's struggle, there's also joy like to find in terms of what people go through and what people overcome. Because I think we just show what people are going through. We don't show like the overcoming part and the spirit that goes along with it. And also the unity that is everywhere. Because as much as we don't have a lot, like whatever we have, we try to share amongst each other. And that builds a community where people can enjoy like being alive together. Because at the end of the day, like I shared earlier, there's struggle, like everyone has a struggle. It's easier when you're two than when you're alone in this life. So that's something I would like the world to see from Africa, from Kenya, because I think also the world needs a little bit more of that togetherness, especially after COVID and then the Russia thing. So that's what I think we should showcase more. And the art, it's amazing.